All right. There we go. We still got a few people coming in. All right. Okay, it is January 22nd. Can't believe we're almost through the first month of the year. That's just crazy.
Truly amazing.
Crazy, crazy stuff. All right. Pam says it's my sister's birthday. All right. Well, happy birthday, Sister Pam. Okay, let's see here. Let me close this up. All right. Anybody got anything you want me to cover today specifically? Any new interests? All right. I apologize. I'm having to let everybody in. Connie is off today. She's not feeling well, so I'm covering for her. So if I'm a little sidetracked here, I'm just monitoring the waiting room and letting people in too. So,
Hey,
all right.
John, this is Shar. If you click on participants and the three buttons at the bottom, you can disable the waiting room and then you don't have to let anyone in. They'll
Oh,
automatically join.
that's cool. Let me see how you do that.
Yeah, participants and then the three buttons at the bottom, and you'll check off enable waiting room.
Oh, it actually doesn't have the, I see the check for enable waiting room, but it's not highlighted to uncheck it.
Well, one of the two ways, if it's already initially checked, uncheck it. If it's not checked, then check it.
Okay, well that's what I mean. It is checked, but it won't allow me to uncheck it.
Oh, so you didn't, this isn't you may not be the person who's created this meeting, but normally you should be able to uncheck it.
Okay, I think it's in the master settings. I'll have to go into Zoom. I think
Yeah, it's in the master profile.
yeah, when they redid Zoom quite some time ago, I don't know if it was a whole year ago, but almost a year ago, I noticed that that was just on by default, and I never went in to change it. So that's probably what's going on.
Okay. Just thought I'd mention it.
All right, well, I appreciate that because I would have done that. I'll
Hey,
do that.
John.
I'll do that for next week.
John, Brian Noonan, quick question.
Yeah,
Is
sure.
I missed the last couple of weeks, but is there any progress on the marketing widget for Optimancer that we can put on
Yes.
our website? Okay,
Yes, actually, for all of you guys that are in Optimancer and you're in the agency level, if you log into the membership site and go under the Optimancer tab, you'll see all the white label options now. And I did a lot of work on that over the weekend. I got a lot of files up there for you guys. And
great.
not only is the widget up there for you to put onto your site, I've also built out quite a bit of files for a funnel for prospecting. So
Very
we've got
nice.
we've got 4 landing pages for different types of avatars, depending on, what angle you want to hit them with. But we have 4 of those. We've got a 7 email follow-up sequence with a bonus eighth email on there. That's kind of like a Hail Mary. If they don't buy it on 7, then you wait a few days and throw the Hail Mary at them. But it doesn't like everything in there is kind of generic stuff. So you might want to look at it. You may want to customize the text, the pitches, the offers, all that kind of stuff, to do whatever you want to do. So just keep that in mind. I did it just as a generic type of funnel, so don't be afraid to go in and, change it and customize it. And, the emails are AI driven, so they may not be as quite as good as you would like. So anyway, but that's up
That's
there.
awesome. I really appreciate all that.
Yeah, because
John,
I know what it's like starting from scratch and you got the blank page syndrome. So that's
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I'm also, if we have time today, interested in anyone's success stories in terms of selling this so far.
okay. I actually know if anybody is really actively selling the Optimancer service yet, because it's kind of been in that beta mode. Not to say that it's not ready. It's ready to go. I just don't know if anybody in the group. I haven't sold it outside of the group, and I know a lot of you guys aren't like agency owners. When I go out to the agency owners and start selling it in that pool, there'll be a lot of people that use it like right out of the gate. We had the same thing with SitePop. When we released SitePop, we released it to our internal members and they kind of dabbled with it. But we have a lot of agencies that run SitePop. And when I release Optimancer out to the agencies, they're going to be on that thing like stink on a big pot because, they've got hundreds, if not thousands of clients and they're already serving them. So this is a great add-on sale. Adding AI optimization to whatever they've been selling, that's going to be like a no-brainer. And
Yeah,
John,
I'm
John, one
still
of the things,
circling.
John, one of the things you were talking about, I saw the HTML landing pages. You were talking about doing Kartra templates, and I don't see those in there. Did I misunderstand? Although there's a
nope,
tab for Kartra templates, are those coming soon?
those are coming soon. I've got probably 90% of the Kartra done. The only thing I've got one more page I have to finalize, which is the actual sales page. So I have the four opt-in templates. I've got the database, I've got the list, the tags, the follow-up sequence, all of that stuff is done. The only thing I'm missing now is the final landing page to actually make the offer to them for a retail sale of the service.
Could I get a little clarification? Because I was read through the documentations, and correct me if I have this wrong, but I understand there's a landing page, which is sort of like your pre-sale page, which takes them to what you're calling a thank you page, which is I'm going to call the URL page, which is where they put in their URL. And after they put in their URL, is there a third page, which is what I would consider the thank you page afterwards, where you get a chance to give them a little extra goose and a soft upsell to the actual software and stuff like that. I see a 3-page sequence. If I understand the way you have it laid out correctly, it's just the landing page and then the URL page, and there's no third thank you page. If I got that right, wrong, or please straighten me out on that.
No, there is a third one. That's the one that I'm working on. So the third one really is a sales page. So that's basically what the third page is. So let me
Well,
log
that's
in
that's
here.
perfect. That's exactly the sequence I've got. And uh, the one thing I did wonder, I thought I saw somewhere that you had a few Optimancer testimonials as opposed to having a completely naked uh, testimonial section or completely missing one. I thought I saw a few video testimonials, but they were all talking about Optimancer. Am I remembering correctly?
I don't recall having any. I don't think we have any video testimonials on Optimancer yet.
Okay, then a follow-up question is if we do get some follow-up video questions, given that we can now do it, and given that we're doing white label, if we have some video testimonials of people talking about Optimancer, do you have a problem with us cloning that whole video and changing only the word Optimancer from Optimancer to whatever our white label name is for the software, if that's the only change that we do? Because
Oh
the
no,
AI now can duplicate it and lip sync it and do all that. Is that going to be kosher?
yeah, that's fine. Like any of the marketing materials that we're developing, you guys are, free to use those and change them and, do whatever you want to do with them. So
That's great.
let's see here. Okay, I'm just looking for all the files I need to show you here so I can get this thing. Boy, my desktop is definitely a mess. Okay.
They have an app for that now, John.
God, I know. I need it too.
Some of the agents that are out there now, you can just say, my desktop's a mess, please organize it. And 30 seconds later, it's completely organized. It's like crazy.
All right, here we go. I'm going to just share my screen. So I've got, these are the files. This is like the set of files. Oops, I lost it there. Too many things going. So these are all the files that I've been working on, and these are what's getting uploaded. Most of these are already in the members area. So as far as the ad copy, I haven't put those in yet, but we've got the lead capture. So these are all the HTML files for the lead capture. And then we've got all these files here, which are all supporting files to help you build your game plan, high converting copy, uh, agency sales positioning copy. There's the 7-day email nurture sequence after they opt in. But I've put them kind of in order here. You've got this is your summary, kind of the start here. It gives you the whole overview of all the files that have been built and all that good stuff. And then the
John,
sales.
before you leave that page, if you go back just a second on your the one that's the three agency positioning sales copy,
Uh-huh.
I that is really, 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 really thin on the selling to business people. And I'm guessing it's because you sell primarily to agency. You've not done any direct consumer B2B sales, because there's only like at the very, very bottom, there's like three positionings. There's three things in there. Everything else is about agency to agency sales. Have I got that correct, or is that a missing piece, or is that something we're going to have to figure out on our own because you don't do consumer B2B
Well, this
sales?
this is like an extra piece. So this was probably added in for that purpose. But where the B2B or the I'm just going to call it consumer, where you're selling it to a website owner that wants it, we'll call those consumer sales.
Perfect.
And those are all in the HTML files. These pages have all been done, and that's what I'm working on inside of Kartra is getting all those done. The one that's not up yet is the sales page. And this is basically where you would send them after they've opted in, after they've done the report, after they've got all the all the materials sent out to them. So it follows a process. And I'll go into Kartra here, and you can see I've got all the pages up here. I got too many windows bungling all over my stuff here. So it kind of starts with the number one. Oh, there's my retail offer. So this one here, this is kind of your beginning landing page. This is where you would send a customer to get the free report. And this is just one of four. So this one is, is your website visible to AI? So that's kind of the call to action. And then they opt in. And again, this is all in Kartra. So all these opt-ins are dialed in Kartra. You would change out your footer here. You would change out your logo, but that's basically about all you have to do. And notice there is four of these. There's a number two. This one's about competitors stealing your traffic. This one's about dominate AI search before your competitors do. And this is, can AI find your business? So it's just four different angles. You could use one of these. You could use all of these. In the doc files that you'll download, it kind of gives you the overview of what kind of avatar each page is for. But you got four of those, And then you've got this is what I'm calling the thank you page. Once they opt in on one of these 4 pages, then they go to this page, which is the congratulations, and there is the tool. You don't have to use any of this. You could literally take the widget and drop it on your home page if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend that because you don't have any way to opt someone in. That's a very poor process. If you're just giving them a free report and they take it and leave, take it and run, you don't have any way to follow up with them. I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend on your home page, you put a teaser, then they go to the landing page, which we just looked at, they opt in, then they come here to get the free report. Now they're in your system, whether you're using Kartra or Go High Level or whatever, get them to opt in and then put the widget on the thank you page. Now, once they're on the thank you page inside a Kartra, I send them right to a sequence. So, and that's that 7-day follow-up sequence. And it's all pushing towards this page here, which is the sales page. This is basically the before and after, what they get. It gives them some scary stats. Here's exactly what we'll do for you. So we're presenting this as a done for you service, and I'm only presenting it as a done for you service to WordPress owners. So see, we've got a WordPress and a non-WordPress, and this is the page I'm still working out the kinks on this one. It's not quite formatted right. But I put in here WordPress 97 a month. I put non-WordPress. This is where you just do a pure smash and grab here. It's if they're WordPress, drop them in there. If they're not WordPress, you probably don't want to deal with them. So at that point, what you want to do is you want to sell them a report. It's a before and after report. You want to create the LLM file, create the schema markup, create the Q&A, and just hand it off to them. Just give it to them. Optimancer will print you a report that has everything in it to hand off to their webmaster. Hand it off to them. Say, once your webmaster has done all this stuff, let us know. We'll rerun the report for you and give you a progress report for $497, one-time, one-shot deal. That way, you're not tied in to trying to figure out how to get into their frickin' website, figure out what it's made from, figure out how to operate it. And then you have the liability of if you're in there, because you're going to be doing this stuff manually. You're going to be manually updating their stuff. And when you get into that, if you break it, who's responsible? So I would not recommend getting into that kind of a can of worms. But anyway, that's kind of the sequence. So we've got the 4 landers, the thank you, and the sales page. And these are all Kartra files. Everything is done here except for the sales page. I'll probably wrap that up today, load that up, and then I can give you guys all the Kartra template to get in here. And once you have the template, you just load the template into your Kartra account and away you go. So
You guys have no idea how lucky you are. This is the first time John has even waved at this kind of stuff before, and this is spectacular, John. I'm glad if you're going to do it. I'm glad you did it for this one because this is really spectacular.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, this was the reason I was able to do this is none other than AI. I got to tell you, if I did not have AI, I would not have done this. As you've seen in the past, how many things have I released and just left you guys to your own devices? Which with AI, it was really a piece of cake. All those files that you saw, all those got generated by AI in under an hour. All that stuff, and then I got all the HTML files. It took me probably half a day to come in here into Kartra and really dial in the template files and get everything loaded up in here. And then under the let's see, where is that? Under marketing. Okay, under sequences. So I actually created the sequence. This is the follow-up sequence for the AI automation. So you'll see it's got all the follow-up emails set in here. It's got the trigger. Somebody opts in, they get triggered and added to the sequence. Now, the opt-in form itself, when they get into the database, it sends them a thank you email. The thank you email sends them over to that thank you page to run their free report. Then this thing kicks in 1 hour. 1 hour, the process starts. So after they've run their report, they've got an hour to run their report and chew on it. Then this thing's going to follow up with them. And it's got the email, and it's making an assumption here. It's have you had a chance to review your report? If not, here, click to run your report. It's giving them another link back to the thank you page to run their report if they haven't done it already. And then it's telling them, here's what your report shows. And there's no link in here. There's no pressure. There's no sales pitch. It's just basically giving them the link to make sure they've run their report. And then if they have questions, they can follow up. It just says reply to this email. And the reason I'm doing that too is to increase the score of the readability of this sequence. If people respond, it's going to give you a better score on your email. Your email deliverability depends on a scoring system. So if people are interacting with the email, if they're opening it, clicking it, responding to it, your email deliverability score will go up. So this sequence not only is made for conversion, it's also made to increase your readability score, which is really cool. So that's the first email. That one goes out after an hour. This next one goes out in 1 day. So these things, and they're all set, they're all sequenced, everything is done. When you load this into your Kartra account, there'll be a few things you'll have to edit, and you're off to the races. So here's, this one's making the assumption. Yesterday, you probably saw your AI visibility score. If it was lower than you expected, you're not alone. Over 90% of businesses score below 50, which means they're essentially invisible when potential customers ask AI engines for recommendations. So we're poking the bear here. We're hitting the pain point, and that's really about it. And again, there's no links in this email. It's just basically poking the bear and saying, if you have questions about your report, just hit reply and get them to email you, get them to respond. So this is basically, it says number 2 email, but it's actually the 3rd email. They get one immediately from opting in, and then 1 hour later, 1 day later, and then these things go on 1 day at a time. And it's not till you get down to like the 4th or 5th day when it actually makes an offer. And then it's like you got so much time, and then you got the final one. This is 3 days after the 7-day sequence. So this would be like on day 10. So day 10, this is the Hail Mary. I noticed you didn't respond to my emails about AI optimization. No worries. I know you're busy, but I wanted to check in one last time. You're basically telling them, hey, this is it. Last chance. Last shot at getting this. And then, again, poking the bear. When you requested your AI visibility report last week, I know you saw your score. My question is simple. Are you going to fix it? Or are you going to let it sit? And then it goes into, the categories. It's calling them out. It's like, most people fall into one of these categories, and they're going to decide which one they fall in. The I'll do it myself, and we say, great, if you have the technical skills and time, go for it. Just don't let I'll do it turn into I never got around to it. Then I'll hire someone eventually. I'm not sure if it's worth it, and I'm ready but have questions. And there's the here to book a call. So they can actually schedule an appointment for a free consult. And then here's what I suggest. If you're interested in working with me but have questions, click the button above. If you want to take advantage of the founder's offer, click the button below and reserve your spot. That goes to the order form. So, and then again, I just want to make sure you don't fall through the cracks. Sound fair? Good to go. And you guys can feel free to enhance these. It's just what I put together for you. It was all done with AI, so it could be improved upon for sure, but at least you've got a starting point. Because I know better than anybody that if I've got nothing to start from, I generally push it off and never get around to it. And I think I'm probably along the lines of what most people are. So this is going to be a game changer for those of you that fit into the category of that I do of if I got something to work with, I'll run with it. But if I've got a blank page, I'm going to just do what everybody else does and I'm just going to stare at it.
Very true, John. I have a quick question. You covered guarantees, quote unquote, in there somewhere in that doc. I've read through all of it a couple of times to try and get it in my brain. Um, Most of them originally come in with a percentage score below 50%, and you say that you want to do 80% in something like, 60, 90, 120 days, something like that. I'm of the category, I don't refund anything, but I will increase your ROI by working, additionally hard and long
Yes.
and agree to that. Is getting above 80%, is 80% plus a realistic goal for what is achievable on this? I'm guessing that it's our report. We know what it is. We have all the automated tools, and you have another 29 tools in the AI Dominator part of it, that if there's something, you're thinking about don't shoot a dead horse. Well, if they're one of the people that need to do 90% of this stuff more to get them above 80%, we've got the tools to do that. But is that 80% a reasonable, good threshold that you'll be able to get 80 to 90% of your people above just by doing the plugin, or is there going to be more to exceeding that 80% level?
That's going to be a good question for Chris when we do the first training next week, because he has set the whole criteria for the scoring. And I'm not really sure where he set the bar to have, the automated stuff that we're doing with the plugin push it up to that number. But yeah, what I would say as far as a guarantee, if you don't want to do a money back guarantee, the guarantee that I would probably throw out is, hey, we'll get your score up to X amount by X time. That might be 30, 60, 90 days in. And if we don't, we will stop your billing and keep on working until we get it there, and then we'll turn the billing back on. That's a great guarantee. That one
Yeah, I'm your
shows,
student, John. That's the one that I'm using.
yeah, that's the one, I mean, that shows that you stand behind the product. And, it's not that they have zero risk. If you do a money back guarantee, that gives them a total zero risk. But if you don't want to go that far, if you want to have them have at least some skin in the game, tell them you've got to at least pay the first month, maybe the second month, maybe the third month. But after that, if it's not up to what I say, I will do the work for free until I get it there. That way, you've got like a partnership commitment going there that you're not just going to leave them stranded. You're going to work with them.
Perfect, John. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah, yeah,
That's perfect.
absolutely. And again, keep in mind all of the copy, everything that is in this current funnel was done by AI by analyzing our original sales page that was made to sell it to the agencies. So it extracted, and I had a very, very long prompt. In fact, prompting, probably the biggest difference in the results of what I get, what most people get out of AI is the prompting, for sure. There's no doubt about it. And I've been asked, like, I put this out to all you guys, like, what do you guys want to learn from me if you want to do like 1 day or 2 day or 3 day events live? And Jill was one of the first ones. She threw out she would love one on prompting. So I think what I'm probably going to do is do like a 1 day seminar just for a handful of people on the boat on prompting and record it. And then we'll have it. Those of you that want to come, I'll probably limit it to half a dozen people, maybe. Do it on the boat. We'll just hang out for a day in the slip, do our thing, record it, and then we'll have it up for sale. But those people that came live, they'll get the benefit. The recording will probably just be a couple hours, but they'll get the benefit of sitting there with me all day and asking questions and working on, whatever they want to do in their prompting. So I'm probably going to do that in the beginning of February. For anybody that's interested in that, I'll put an official date out here real soon. I'll pick a date. It'll probably be a Friday. And, I know a lot of you guys are local, so you might want to hop over and take advantage of that. If any of you are out of town, I don't know if it's worth coming in for 1 day for something like that. But if you are out of town and you want to do a live event with me, very limited, I don't do very many people at a time anymore. If you want to do that and you know you're going to be in California or you want to be in California at any particular time, just let me know and I will do my best to set something up and revolve it around that. Just tell me where, when, and what you want to do, and I'll make it happen for you. So that's about as accommodating as I can get. Even if it's just like if you just want it like a mastermind session, we could go over and, sit in a beautiful little cove in Catalina for a couple days and just do a cool mastermind session. I love doing that stuff too, by the way. Those are like the coolest events that we could possibly do. All right, Pam, go ahead. You just have to
Yeah,
unmute.
yep. I tried to hit the button, but it missed. So that actually ties into my question. Where did you get the AI to do the workflow in Kartra, and what did you ask it to do to get that? Now I have Go Level, but it's got workflow stuff in there too. I just don't know where you get those things created.
Gotcha. Well, I didn't really ask it for a workflow necessarily because I know how to do that in Kartra. Like
Okay.
I work Kartra like, I know that one like the back of my hand. But I was asking it for the pieces. Like first I had it go in and I had to analyze the existing sales page. And that's where it learned about the product and what it does and how it does it and all that. And then I said, okay, as a bonus, I'm selling this product, as you can see on the sales page. It's geared toward agencies. And I want to give the agencies a bonus of a free funnel. And the funnel is based on our widget to do free reports. So I kind of trained it on what we're going to do and what we're planning, and then it took it from there. And it said, I would recommend doing 4 landing pages, not one.
All right.
And then it spit out the HTML for all four, which I think is just phenomenal that AI will actually write HTML for you and design the page. I mean, the pages, they weren't like award-winning artistry or anything, but they were clean, they were simple, they were well developed, and it gave me a template that I could take and build in Kartra, which I thought was awesome. I also said, if you're going to do 4 of them, make them all in the same format so I can make one template and then copy and paste into Kartra. So that's probably why it did it that way. And then once I did that, I already had the landing page for the thank you page because I had already made that for a funnel that I made just to show you guys. So I already had that one done. I didn't ask it for that. But I went back and I said, okay, we need another page. We need a fifth page now for a sales page to sell this to what I was calling a consumer or a retail, which really is a business owner where you're going to do the done for you service. So then it spit out the sales page. And that's the one that I'm just now transitioning into Kartra. So once I get that page locked in, I'll be able to create the entire template and then give that to you guys.
That was that all in Chat GPT or somewhere else?
I use Perplexity like
Plex.
99% of the time. I have
Got it.
very little experience with Chat GPT other than like when I first started doing this stuff. So everybody says it's way better now, but at the time when I switched over to Perplexity, Perplexity just kicked its ass.
Got it.
And it's always, Perplexity's always done really good for me. So I just kind of stick with that one.
Thank
I'm
you.
not always trying to look for like newer and better. If I've got something that's working and working well, I ride that horse till it's dead. So, Jerry, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, as an affiliate, not a white label person,
Uh-huh.
can you speak to the marketing for that? So, for example, as I'm working on my stuff for my website to give to Tim, I want to put a link on my website to your Optimancer, product.
Okay.
Are you providing any kind of marketing support materials for those of us who are just doing that and not the white label? Because I don't want to be an agency,
Yeah. Yeah.
supporter.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you. With not everyone's cut out to be the agency. Like even Arbro last week, she was saying, I don't want to do that. And she's working with clients. So she's like, already in agency mode, but she still doesn't want to get into that because when you get into offering agency services, they do expect some level of competence in that arena. So if you don't have that, a lot of times you're better off to just make the cut, send it over to somebody that does and let them do it. Like I said, we've got a bunch of agencies that we're going to be selling this to. Those agencies would love to have you send people for done for you services. So here's the other thing, and I talked to Gregory about this last week because he was looking to do the affiliate thing too. And I said, the affiliate to sell them, to sell this to somebody as an affiliate, we're more geared towards selling it to agency owners, not the retail public. And again, when I say retail public here, I'm talking about business owners with a WordPress website. That's what I'm considering the retail public here in this scenario. Optimancer's really not geared towards selling to that person, selling them the software, because they're not going to know what to do with it. They're going to drive us nuts. It's going to blow up our support system. And I'm not looking to go there. I would much prefer sell it to agency owners and then have the agency owners sell it to the retail public and make the lion's share of the money. Because that's where
Well,
the lion's share of the money is made, is selling
then,
in.
John, what are you suggesting then for somebody like me? Because I'm working with individual people, not agencies or not corporations anymore. So would my link be to another person who's got a white label or just straight to
Most
you?
most likely, if you want to offer them a done for you service, which is probably going to be the right offer for most retail customers,
Mhm.
you would probably want to get set up with one of our agency operators and say, what will you give me? And you'll make more money on that too. Because if you
Mhm.
sell it through mine to a retail guy, they're going to be paying the 27 bucks or, whatever they get in, whatever price. And, you're only going to be getting a cut of 27 bucks.
John, not to tread on what you do, but Jerry, with me, the stuff that
Mhm.
John's selling, he sells it to me, and then I sell it to people like you. So you should be an affiliate of mine in that case, because that's the more place where it would work for you, because of the fact that you're selling the same thing that John's doing. You're just selling it because I'm actually providing it as a service as opposed to selling just the hard software. Makes sense,
Yeah.
John? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So Tim is an agency owner.
Mhm.
Okay.
So he'll be buying the software and then running the done for you services. So if you're sending the customer through him and he's doing that, he's going to be charging a lot more than 27 bucks for it.
Yeah.
He'll probably be charging 100, 200, 300 bucks a month. And as an affiliate, you'll be getting a cut of that much bigger lump of
You'll
sum.
be making a lot more per customer than $27 a month with me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have another question then. So for me, I wouldn't really need to have Optimancer just for my website. Then would I just, I mean, personally, I'm trying to make a differentiation here between my website that,
Gotcha.
I'm
Yeah.
supporting versus the affiliate.
Yeah, if you were just like for any of you guys that want to run it on your own website, I'll tell you it's very easy to install and run it yourself. And that said, I'm saying that to you guys because you guys are on the call here. If you need help, I can help you on the call. I wouldn't want to sell it to people outside the group as that and make it seem like it's that simple because they don't have me on a weekly call to help them. So, but yeah, for you, you could easily run it yourself for the $27 a month, no problem.
Okay.
And once it's set up, I mean it's pretty much it auto syncs every week, which means it runs an auto script, it checks to see if anything's changed, and then if it's changed, it'll update your files on the back end to match. If your FAQs need to be updated, it'll do that. If if your schema codes need to be updated because of content changes, it'll automatically sync and detect that. So
Okay, thanks.
yeah, absolutely. All right, back to Richard.
Yeah, John, you initially said that you wrote that the AI you used to do all this stuff was a one that, at least the way that you presented it, maybe I heard it wrong, that it was a new it was a new platform that actually had the ability to query multiple whatever, and now you've just said it's Perplexity. So was this just a Perplexity? Because I don't like Perplexity for a number of reasons. but
No,
and
I have been working with another one, but it's not like a single one I could send you to. It's kind of like a robotic chain that does all its stuff. So
that's
they're
called an agent.
yeah. So they're kind of naming this type of a scenario synthetic AI, which again, that's just a marketer, throwing out a name for something. So, but yeah, I've been playing around with that. I'm trying to figure out if I can bundle that together and somehow get it inside the Quantum suite for you guys. As
Well, let me know when you do that, because that sounds pretty good. Currently, I think it was you suggested Abacus, and they turned out to be really, really great. The thing I like about them is that I have neither the inclination or the desire, like you do, to try and figure out which particular AI platform is better for which particular kind of thing.
yeah.
And Abacus has an LLM router. So when you give it a prompt, the first thing it does is it analyzes the prompt and then decides which would be the most powerful AI in that particular use case to do that. And
Okay.
it'll give you Gemini 3 or right now
Yeah.
I'm going through the sequence with this on the Chat GPT 5.2, and it's coming up with some breathtakingly good stuff. But it chooses the model, uses the best one, and it's a multi-thing platform because everybody, I guess all the models like the feedback they get from doing all this stuff. Abacus is startlingly cheap. It's like $10 a month or maybe $20 a month, and you have access to all the top models, and they'll tell you which one is the right one to use.
Yeah.
But if you've got that artificial one, I'd like to see that one that comes out. Thank you.
Yeah, so far the only issue with it has been the cost because it runs on API credits and it chews up a lot of API credits. So that's the only downswing to it. But it is really cool the way it debates with between the platforms to really brainstorm and everything. So pretty cool stuff. All right. Anything else here? So we're gonna probably try and schedule. I'm gonna see if I can get Chris to lock down a date for next week to do another Optimancer training. And in February, the beginning of February, I actually have our first launch out to agency owners. So I really need to shift gears and get my butt into gear as far as putting a presentation together for them because I have not done that at all yet. I still don't have a PowerPoint, and that's kind of the core being of a webinar is the PowerPoint presentation. So once I get that up, then we'll have like what Jerry was asking. She was basically asking for, a way to send people through our affiliate program. And that's what'll be the core of that. We'll have that just like we have for SitePop, where somebody can come in, they can opt in, watch the webinar, and then go through a sequence to sell them. And that SitePop sequence was very, very effective. That thing sold hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of service through that webinar. So I'll build the same thing out for Optimancer. And, again, it's going to be geared mostly toward agency owners. But I think we'll probably, I'm always very reluctant to do anything that's going to cause me additional work. So but I think in this case, I think we're going to be able to do enough training videos and have enough online support, especially with the chat bots and things, that we might be able to get this set up to where we can actually sell it out to retail customers to do it themselves, especially if they're WordPress. If they're WordPress owners and they have even the least little inkling of technical ability to go in and edit their website, they should be able to do this, especially with the step-by-step training. So, but that will, that will come. So if it comes to that, Jerry, you'll have another link and you can sell both ends, the high and the low. That way we don't leave any scraps left on the table. We just
Thanks.
eat it all. All right, Shar, go ahead.
So I'm new and maybe I missed it, but how do you get access to Optimancer?
Oh, that's a great question. I had sent out links. Let me see if I can find the link to it, and I'll put it in the chat for you.
Okay, thank you. And
Okay.
that's outside of quantum AI?
Yes, what Optimancer is for, it's an optimization software for WordPress. So
Okay.
if people have WordPress, what it allows them to do is run a report on their site. And actually, they don't even have to have WordPress for that. They can run a report on their website and it will tell them, it'll give them like a score if they're optimized for AI. And if they're not, AI is probably never going to send traffic to their website.
Okay, so I'm a WordPress developer.
Okay.
So would you suggest that I just purchase Opta Answer for myself and then I basically can set my own agency pricing when I do it for my customers?
Yes, what you would want is you would want the agency version of it.
Okay.
So the single version just gives you one website.
Okay.
And it doesn't give you access to any of the agency files and all that stuff. But the agency version, it gives you, I think, let me look here. I think it gives you like 20 or 25 to resell. 20. So the agency version, basically it's 127 bucks a month and it gives you 20 websites to resell or
Okay.
20 optimizations to resell. And then you can buy more once you've sold the 20. But that's a pretty dang good deal because optimizing for AI and charging your client like even 97 bucks a month if you got 20 of them, that's almost $2,000 for a cost of 127 a month.
Correct.
So it's a very good deal. And then you can scale it up. Once you've sold the initial 20, you can just buy more and keep on going. Like usually our agency owners, usually they'll be up at the level of hundreds of these things, like we have with SitePop. We have a lot of agencies that have been with us on SitePop for over a decade, and they have honestly told me that if it wasn't for that software, they'd probably be out of business by now. So that's really my sweet spot, is helping agency owners. That's been my like core fabric for the last 2 decades, is building stuff for those agency owners and making them successful. So Roger, go ahead.
I was wondering if we'd get to recruit Richard to tell us problems with perplexity, and maybe you might find some fixes for that, because I'll see his stumbles and raise him a triple half gainer down the stairs. I'd have a lot more problems.
Oh yeah,
You'd
I
have,
mean, yeah. If you got what kind of problems are you guys having with perplexity? Because it works like grease lightning for me.
I'm just getting set to start it.
The reason, the thing that I I am proactively anti-tech. I mean, at 75 years old, I am not about to take on learning tech and all that stuff at this point. I hand built my first website in 1995, and that cured me of it right away. on what was on Windows 95 or whatever it was. But anyway, the same box.
Probably on front page, huh?
No, it wasn't even that. It wasn't even that exotic. It was literally the one when you see the screenshots from the 1990s. That's the one.
Oh God!
And
So you're probably using Notepad.
Well, perplexity. So when I give it the answer, thank you for thinking and taking all that heavy lifting off my plate. I don't want to see your thinking. I don't want to know what you're doing. Please just give me the answer. That's why I'm here. And perplexity wants to talk through and go through all this stuff, and you got two panes open, and it's talking through two panes and doing two different things. And when I asked it about doing a particular, I forget what it was, I had a particular question, and it didn't answer the question. It gave me code. And it's like, what do I do with code? And when you suggested Abacus, it does all that sorting. It's got that LLM router. It'll decide which of the models is actually best for the type of problem you're working, because different ones some are good at coding, some are good at writing copy, some are good at math. So, I mean, they each have their little vertical markets that they do a little bit better. And ChatGPT 5.2 and Gemini 3 Flash, interestingly enough, Flash is normally the fast, cheap model. Gemini 3 Flash is actually it's a cheap model, but it's their most powerful model. And it's like, that's about as much as I understand. And so I don't want to try and sit there and try and figure out the nuance of which is better or whichever. If I get an AI that'll tell me which AI is best to use and then feed my prompt right into that one and then maintain that thread for that particular platform, for that particular prompt, there's a place where you can set up a memory. You click one button and then that particular thread will remember everything in the thread. And as you do things, it'll add and subtract and update the memory to correct it so that the memory is exactly what it is you want it to be. And I found with just about any other platform and any other thing, their memories are crap. And you give it like the color palette that you want to use, and by 10 prompts later, it forgets that you gave it the color planet and color palette, and says, "Well, what color do you want to use?" And I said, "I already told you that." And with Abacus, it's all there. You click the memory button, it turns on memory. Every thread remembers everything in the thread, and then you can say, "Okay, in this thread, give me a prompt for the memory that I can put into a new thread because I want to do something parallel, but I don't want to disrupt this one, and I want to do a no, and it'll set it all up, give you the prompt. Here's the prompt, and the whole point of AI is that, I got about this many good years that I'm willing to keep doing this sort of thing, and that ain't enough years to get up to speed on AI if AI stopped right now with what it's doing. And so, if I need a wheelchair because I can't walk very good, damn it, I'm going to use the wheelchair. I'm not going to spend years trying to do. I don't have that many years left to spend it. So right now, speed is the only limiter. And particularly given the health issues that I've been facing for the last 5 years, I have a functional, maybe three. I've had up as many as 6 or 7 useful hours in a single day, but not every day in the week. And so, if I can put in, I physically don't have access to more than maybe 10 to 20 maximum hours a week I can even work on this. So I better be using every damn tool I can to speed everything up as fast as I can. And with the AI, recovering from a cold, recovering from surgery and all that stuff, a week and a half ago, I said, I want to launch this thing and be ready to go on February 1st. And I think we're going to make it. And if I can do it, hell, anybody here that's got halfway decent health that actually put in a decent amount of time during the course of a week, do it. And the fact that John has added all of the do not reinvent the wheel, guys. Here is the wheel. Please just put it on your car and run it. Guess what? I've been in advertising and marketing since I was 10 years old. I'm running John's wheel. I am not changing anything except some of the tone and some of the positioning. And I'm using all of John's suggestions, his tools, and I'm not reinventing anything. And guess what? It's going fast. And I will be able to get this thing up and running and have some online customer clients. And when I prove out the system that I've got it up and running, that I know it works, that I can make guarantees and fulfill them, then I'll be an agency. Any of you guys want to come to plug in, and I'll run the things for it. And I'm training my son, who's in his 40s, to pick this stuff up and run it. So he's going to get that whole thing. He's going to be trained by the best. He's going to be sitting in on these calls on a regular basis. And so it'll all work. And I like John's model of don't bang this soft thing here against hard walls. Do it the easy way. Don't kill a dead horse. John, there's a reason I've been with John for 15 years, is he knows his stuff. And he has that unique ability to see those cracks in the market before anybody else sees the cracks in the market, and knows how to patch them and fix them, given the fact that SitePop has been running for 15 years, is the best SEO software on the market, and the only SEO software on the market that can actually offer a guarantee. Yeah, you can actually offer a guarantee with SitePop, and you can meet it. And he's figured out, thank you, John, how to tune SitePop so it will now also work as part of your AI optimization toolbox. That right there is that we not only will optimize it, we have the AI that we've been training for 15 years on how to make AI. You're trying to make your site AI visible to AI. That's what SitePop does. Only the AI it's trying to make your site visible to is RankBrain, which was one of the first AIs put out on the market by Google to rank websites. John's team created how to make your website visible to that AI. Well, it's going to do the same thing, but just make you visible to all the other AIs. And that is absolutely something that nobody's even thought of, let alone cracked. So what you've got here is absolute gold-pressed platinum level stuff here, if you're a Star Trek fan. I mean, this stuff is great. It's all dialed in. You know, there's people out there, I've been doing AI now for 4 years. And I say, oh, great. We deployed our first AI software 15 years ago. What have you guys done lately? And all they're doing is talking about what they think might help you. And here's the instructions that they can give you so you can go out and do it. No, 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 no. We've been doing it for 15 years. If you'd like it done, call us. We'll do it. Done. Full stop. Nobody else even has a hint of a glimmer of doing that yet. This is so far ahead of the curve. You're going to be 24 months ahead of everybody doing this stuff. I'll get off my sales walk, John, but that's the way I feel about it.
Yeah, it was funny at Perry Belcher's first AI event that was probably 3 years ago. He was up there and he was talking about robotic AI, robotics. And I was just like, man, what the hell is that? Thinking like this is some new concept. And then he made mention, he goes, yeah, he goes, somebody in the room has been doing this for almost a decade. And I'm looking around like, wow, who's that? And he named me. He goes, John Limbacher's been at this for a decade. And I'm like, what in the hell is he talking about? But he was referring to SitePop being the robotic part of AI. And I didn't even correlate that to being robotic AI. But it is, we would put those agents together to pass things down like an assembly line. And yeah, he was like really tooting my horn over that one. So that was pretty funny. But Roger, in basically, I get your question and then Richard's answer, but in answer to the core question of what are the flaws with perplexity, I haven't heard anybody that actually told me anything that did not come down to prompting. Like everything that Richard found, he just found something easier for him to use in another program. I guess with me, it doesn't matter which pond you drop me in, I'm going to be able to swim. It doesn't matter how deep the water is. So, like all the stuff that he was mentioning as being pain points, that's all the stuff over the last couple of years that I've been teaching people, kind of rolling it out as I learn it as
Better. Mhm.
basically as prompting. Like for instance, with perplexity, and this was especially a problem with ChatGPT when it first came out, is it would forget what you were talking about. It had a very short memory, but you could fix that simply with a prompt. Basically, as you go down your conversation, all you have to do is say, now let's recap everything we've learned so far. And then what it'll do, it'll go back to the beginning. It'll take all that and it'll compress it down and carry that suitcase forward. So very easy to overcome that. And I do that just like just by nature. I do that. Another thing is like if you've got something very complex and it doesn't really understand, because what you have is you have a machine and you're talking to a machine, and the machine, it interprets English, but it doesn't really, that's not its native language. Its native language is JSON. JSON is what it's written in, and that's what it speaks fluently. So, like, let's say I want it to copy say I have a really good sales letter from a top marketer, and I want to copy that style. If I tell it that in English, it's just not going to do a very good job. It's not going to really understand. But if I tell it, hey, can you take this sales letter and break this into JSON and then explain it to me?
Seems like you good. Yeah.
And then it will do that. And it's like, holy shit, it really gets this. And then you can say from that, you can tell it, this is the writing style of John Carlton or Frank Kern or whoever, and say, I'd like you to research them and then create a template based on this JSON learning that you can write sales letters for me in the style of that marketer. And holy mackerel, the the output you will get will blow your socks off compared to if you just went in and said, "Hey, can you write me a sales letter and I want it to sound like John Carlton?" Huge night and day difference in that. So it really comes down to your ability to talk to the machine in a language that it understands and get what you want out of it. And
Hmm.
when we first started talking about this stuff, remember I said the future is going to be owned by prompt engineers. People that understand how to speak to the AI. Those are the ones that are going to rule the world in this thing. Because, I mean, everybody, I've got neighbors now that are not computer people, they're just normal people. And they're talking about Grok this and Grok that and Chat GPT this and Chat GPT that. They're all using it. But the level of output they're getting is like it's preschool level. They're getting preschool level results, and they think that's great. The preschool level results out of AI is probably, takes their IQ and blows it through the roof. But, I'm a little more demanding than that. So I just have learned how to prompt and how to speak to it and how to get it to do what I want it to do. So,
So the summary is that first you say, can you break this down in JSON? And
uh-huh.
then, and then I'd like it in the style of John Carlton.
Yeah, and you tell it, this is John Carlton's sales letter. I'd like you to break it down in JSON so you can understand it and explain it to
Mm-hmm.
me. And once it's done that, it's now trained.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can tell it, okay, here's my product. Here's who I'm selling it to. I'd like you to use the John Carlton pattern or template that you now understand to write me a sales letter.
Mm-hmm.
And bingo, it just knocks it out of the park.
Okay.
So it's,
Yeah,
yeah,
thanks.
it's really
Mhm.
cool. So, all right, back to Shar.
So I don't do a whole bunch of websites, and this may answer the situation that Jerry brought up. If I want to go ahead and do a Optimancer website for a particular customer, I could just go ahead and purchase the $27 a month for myself directly, never tell them anything about it, and charge them $999 to do it.
Correct. But you only on the $27 one, you only get one.
That's correct, but I would buy it for that specific
Oh,
customer,
sure. You can.
right? And I could charge them whatever I want to charge them. I don't have to charge them just $27 a month. I pay the 27, I make the commission off of the $27, and then I charge them $9 million for it.
You could absolutely do that.
Right? Because I don't know that I would be using, I don't have a particular cadence of how many websites I would be building and how many customers. So
Gotcha.
I would just do it on a one-off and charge them $9 million for it, and I pay the 27.
You could absolutely do that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
All
I
right.
would have no problem with that whatsoever.
Okay then. Thank you.
Sure. The only difference is like let's say you got customer number two, you would have to sign up for another Optimancer account under a different email address. So that might get a
We
little messy.
agree. We agree. And so I'm a Microsoft 365 reseller also. So all of my customers get Microsoft 365. So they get that. I'm also an
Okay.
internet reseller. So they get their own domain name, their own Microsoft 365. I always create a webmaster at their domain name. So this would just be
Okay.
purchased at webmaster at their domain name. And I could have my cake and eat it too.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
See,
right. Thank
Char's
you.
the example of the kind of clients I work with.
Okay.
Hi,
Why all
Arbor.
I need is an affiliate link.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I think I'm going to do. I have about three or four websites that I currently service. I don't have 20 or 30. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and set up a different email for
Okay.
each time I buy the Optimancer, and then I will use it just for that particular client's website.
You could absolutely do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. No problem. There's always 10 different ways to skin the cat. It's just whatever, works for you. That's great. Jim, go ahead.
Can I sign up for Optimancer with an individual account, test it out on my own website so I make sure that it works, and then ramp up or upgrade to the agency
Yeah,
version?
yeah, you could absolutely do that.
Okay, great. Great.
No problem. So yeah, it's really simple. That's another thing that we're gonna do is I'm gonna take probably a couple of my clients and I'm just gonna run it on them for free, basically to run videos so I can do the training videos on it. So that's if you want me to do that on one of your sites, Jim, like on your Summit Business or your, yeah, Peak Coaching,
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'd be happy to do that for you.
Okay.
And
I'll send you an email.
that way, not only will you get it done, but you'll get to watch me do it and we'll get the recordings out of it.
Can
Awesome.
I
And we'll get some great testimonial off of it, right, Jim? Great
That's
video
right.
testimonial.
and John, can I volunteer one of my websites?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've already done I think I've done like five of them so far. And out of the five, four of them went smooth as glass, and one I couldn't get to work. And naturally, it was my site. I couldn't get to work. So I got Chris on and he was looking at it, and we figured out there was a technical glitch that my site just unearthed. And I know Travis has run into that on a couple of his sites. And basically it was just timeouts that were timing out because we had more pages than normal. So that problem I believe has been fixed. So we're doing this not only to get the process down, but to find any bugs because, there is a million and one different WordPress installs with different plugins, and we're trying to figure out if there's any plugins that conflict or, there's a lot of unknowns when you're dealing with WordPress plugins.
John,
So
do you have any idea how many Optimancer software?
you had cut out. What was the question?
The number of actual active business websites right now actively running the Optimancer software for their AI optimization.
I don't know offhand. I would say it's it's definitely not in the thousands. It's in the hundreds. So, but I
Thank
don't.
you. That's what I thought. That's what I thought because I was guessing that you have not only lots of test sites, but I mean you've you've represented that you have hundreds of test sites plus you have thousands of customers. I'm sure some people have raised their hands just to be able to get in on the boat early so that you can get your testing done and we can make sure that the if we're going to be selling as beta testers, I guess they're the alpha testers. I don't know if that's the right term or not, but the first people to actually do it.
The
And I just
alpha
want to make
beta.
sure if I say we already been testing this on hundreds of websites, I want to make sure it's a true statement because I don't do anything that's not true.
Yeah, yeah. No, it would be in the hundreds range. Yeah. As soon as we open it up to the agencies, then we'll be in the thousands real fast. All right, Shima.
Uh, So my question is, can we run Optimancer using SaaS model, software as a service?
Yes, that's basically what it's made as.
So in the case that if we sell it online, we don't need to have any interaction with the client, and the client can subscribe and run it by himself.
That would only be through the affiliate program. Like if
Okay.
you were an agency, SaaS software is basically software as a service, but it doesn't have to be like self-serve. You can do software
Okay.
as a service as an agency as a done for you. That's like what SitePop is. SitePop is basically it's a done for you SaaS software that agencies offer.
Okay.
Because it is software. It's the WordPress plugin that's installed in their WordPress site. So that in itself is software and it is a service that you're offering them to keep it maintained.
Okay.
But it is
Okay.
automated. Like once you plug that software in and configure it, does its thing. You don't have to go in there and maintain it every month, but you're getting paid every month for what it's doing for the client, which is really cool.
Okay. But the initial sale, I will have to have a call with the client, right?
Yes, well,
Okay.
I don't know that you'd have to have a call with them. Really, all you need is you need their website URL to run the report. And then if you're going to install it on their WordPress site, you need their WordPress login.
Okay.
Or you need to interact with them and have their webmaster install it for you. So there
Is there any way we can automate it so there won't be any interaction? So
so
it
there
just runs
there is minimal interaction that you would
interaction
need to get
to
it.
sell it.
But once it's installed and once it's installed in there, you don't need access to their website. You can run everything from your control panel.
Okay. I was actually asking before why selling during the selling process, the sales process.
Yeah. And again, it depends if you're selling it as an affiliate or if you're selling it to your customer as a service, like a done for you service.
It's a
So
done for you service.
if you're an affiliate, it's hands off. You give them the link and you just make the money. But if you're
Okay.
selling it to your client as a service, you're going to need to have some kind of a conversation with the client about getting it installed.
Okay.
I suppose you could automate that. You could create a video and then have a landing page where they put in their information and you never wind up talking to them.
Okay.
That's you can pretty much automate anything. If you have a standard process that you run in your business and it requires interaction with the client, you can automate that. You can simply just do a video that, hey, we're gonna be installing this in your site. You have two options. Either I can give you the plugin and you can have your webmaster install it, or you can install it. Or if you don't want to do that, you can just give me your admin login. I'll take care of it. And then 24 hours later, you can change the password. I don't need to be in there anymore. So, and you can do that with a video. And then you can have a form where they can put in the username and password for you to get in and do it. Or you can
Okay.
have a download link there. Here's the plugin. Here's what to do. Here's an instruction video for your webmaster. And
Okay.
pretty simple. But anytime you guys have a process for anything, you can automate that. I absolutely love marketing automation because it does the work for you. Yeah, you have to do a little bit of work in the beginning, but at that point, you can walk away and let the machine run. Like before I got into the internet, I've had other businesses. I've had manufacturing businesses. I had a commercial photography studio. And if I wasn't at work working, I wasn't making money. It wasn't until I got into the internet and started offering internet services, hosting. Hosting was my first offering, web development and hosting. And that was the first time I ever had money coming in, whether I was working or not. And I thought, man, this is really cool. This is the way to build a great life. So from that point forward, I've always looked for opportunities where I could either offer something to somebody that someone else did that I get a cut of, and I'm out of the picture just making the money, or developing software and services where you can set them up and they just run and money comes in. And I've built quite a good life off of that, which it gives me the freedom that I've always wanted, which freedom's not just about money. It's not just about making money because I know a lot of people that make a lot of money, but they don't have time to, have a cup of coffee. That's not freedom. You have to have time and money. You have to have time to do what you want to do, and you got to have the money to make sure that you can afford to do it. And the only way that I know to get to that is recurring income, residual income. And software as a service is a phenomenal way to do that, whether you're selling hosting or any kind of ongoing services. Like that's what the whole ACT membership is. It's recurring revenue. That's what the Quantum is all about. That's what SitePop is about. That's what all the hosting customers I've got is all about. Every one of them, with the exception of this call, every one of them I could just totally unplug and I could go on a month-long vacation and the wheels wouldn't fall off the truck. I would come back and everything would be right where I left it. The only thing I do that requires me physically is this call once a week. So it's, and my apprentice calls. Those are the only thing that require my physical presence. But outside of that, the rest of my entire world revolves around automation. So,
John, structurally, that's the basic same business structure as banking. So, you've built on a good basic structure.
yeah, yeah. Boy, and I'm leveraging the hell out of that moving into crypto because that is banking.
Do we have a call today or not?
Nope, it's the second Thursday of each month, and I think I've got a conflict next time, so I'm gonna have to put an email out on that one and change it from, I don't know, I'll change it to either Wednesday or Friday or maybe the following Thursday, something like that. But anyway, anything else? Anything else you guys want me to cover? Or...
Yes, back to where you were at the beginning about the landing pages and all that.
Okay.
When will that be? When will that be added? Because mine just says coming soon.
Okay. The only one that should say coming soon now, I think, is the Kartra page.
Yeah, the Kartra and the Go High level. Those two, yeah.
Yeah, the Go
Says
High
coming soon.
level, the Go High level, I haven't even started on. I think Brad is on the call today. I think he's going to do a Go High level snapshot that if we rub him the right way, he might share it with us and we can plug that in. But if not, I'm going to need to find someone else that's a Go High level specialist to do the Go High level snapshot. But the Kartra one, I will probably be able to complete that one today or tomorrow and get that up.
So
And
then it'll be in the white
yeah,
label.
it'll be in the white label members area. Now, for anybody that is on Go High Level or any other platform, all the basic files, all the HTML files, all the email files, all the instructions, all of that will be up there. Uh, and you could go ahead and move forward with any other platform you wanted to. But I did, since I'm, so entrenched in Kartra, I did want to provide a Kartra template because that's what I specialize in. So the Kartra one, I got that one covered. Go High Level, I'm pretty sure one of our other members will be able to cover that one. And then anything else, you've got the raw files and you can just have at it.
So we've got the HTML.
Yep, the HTML files are all up there with the exception of the sales page, which I'm just finishing today.
Okay.
So yeah, that'll be up there and it's been pretty smooth and easy with AI, I gotta tell you. If it weren't for AI, I wouldn't even have broached the subject of even mentioning the offer of all that stuff. But AI really a savior when it comes to building. So, all right, anything else before we wrap up? All right, well, I guess that is it for today. Thank you guys all for coming on, and we'll have many more updates as we advance down the line here with the AI optimization and anything. I'm also going to. I've taken kind of a sabbatical from Quantum now for a while. I I know so much more now about prompting for the AI tools in Quantum and my developers. I don't know if any of you guys that are white labeling Quantum we have grown leaps and bounds in the back end of quantum. And what I mean by that is the God mode tool. Any of you guys that are in white label, you get access to the God mode tool where you can build your own suite of tools inside of quantum. And you can basically take any of my tools, use them, not use them, have them as part of your suite, throw them out the window, whatever you want. But you can build your own suite of tools for your particular industry to resell to that industry. And it puts you in the software business. You now have a software as a service that you can sell as your own. So really cool. But the God mode tool to build those tools inside Quantum, it's probably 100 times more powerful than when we started. And to give you an idea, if you guys have heard of vibe coding is where you have a chat window open and you're going back and forth developing an AI tool. And that's what we've built in now. So you don't have to format the tool right the first time. You can just go in there and you say, "Hey, I need a tool that does this," and it spits it out. And then you look at it and you say, "Well, could you add this input field?" Or "We don't need that information," or "This is too long." Perfect example of that is I went in and I said, "I need a tool to create a webinar script." And I gave it very limited information. Like as a prompter, I went in as a preschooler, preschool prompt, and oh my God, it spit out a phenomenal tool to build a webinar script. But as I was looking at it, I was like, it was asking for an input field that I didn't even recognize what it was. And then also the other problem with it was it had a length where you pick the length of the webinar, and the webinar length went from an hour to like 4 hours. And I'm like, that's not right. So when I prompted back and using the vibe coding, I said, "Hey, there's a field in here called whatever it was. I don't even remember. I don't even know what that is, and I don't see how that's relevant." And also, the time of a webinar should be like from 15 minutes to an hour, not an hour to 4 hours. And it came back and it said, "Oh yeah, you're right. That was just something I was throwing in as a whatever." So it removed it and it adjusted the script time, and then the tool worked perfectly. And I gotta tell you, it had a lot of input fields that collected a lot of data that it needed to be able to write a good webinar script. And when I tested it, I'm like, wow, I will never, ever write a webinar again. As long as I've got this tool in my back pocket. So that's what we've got for the white labelers of the quantum. So that's another thing where I took 4 people out on the boat for 3 days and I built them a quantum suite of their own. So by the time I brought them back to the dock on Sunday, they all had their own software business, which I thought that was really cool. And the people that did it absolutely loved it. And I want to do more of those. And now it's going to be even better with all the enhancements and upgrades. So if any of you guys are interested in that, you're welcome to go along for that ride as well. So,
John, I have a related question. The
huh?
AIO tool set, which is another 29 tools that you've
Uh-huh.
indicated. Um, and I apologize for not having gone in there and done my homework yet. But you said at one point that what those tools are the way to generate the necessary resources to go in and basically do the AI optimization manually. It'll create the LLM files and it'll create all the different things you need if you wanted to do it manually,
Correct.
not automated. Is there a way that we can map those tools to the corresponding category in the report? So if the report comes back that this particular thing is weak, I know that I can use this tool to bump this up. My thought is that if I need that extra horsepower, because if this is one of those horses that won't die, and I need to really up the level, much higher than would normally be, I need to know which tool will actually correct which problem in the report. Is there a way of mapping those things together so that I know which goes with which?
Yeah, that's really what the AIO Dominator is. It's to do things manually, but outside of the three or four basic things that the plugin does. So if you need real horsepower, that would be your perfect way to do it. But it
Yeah, but I
should.
don't know which tool relates to which item on the list in the report. So if this
Okay.
report says this particular thing needs help, I don't know which one of the 29 tools I need to go to fix this one thing that needs help. I need that mapping. Is there a way to get
Gosh,
that?
I don't really have anything mapped currently other than the naming conventions of the tools. They should match up, fairly easily. But once we get this thing rolling, yeah, I could go back and do that. I could go and just rename the tools maybe to so the names match.
Yeah, just want to know which correlates to which, because if I'm going to do that 80% minimum threshold, if they're particularly low on one thing, I need to know which tool I need to use to bump it up because the software is not doing
Yeah.
enough of the lifting. So
Well, what we're going to do, and I think it's already done. I'm going to have to check with Chris, but I'm pretty sure what's already done is when the WordPress plugin goes in and does what it does, it should take the level of the report up to the number of passing. So if you're going to do a guarantee at a certain number, like say it's 80% off the top, the tool should bump it up to that to solve that problem. So and if it's not there, then I'm going to have Chris readjust the formatting to get the numbers to where the tool does get you to that point.
that's exactly perfect because that's exactly what we need. I figure 80/20 rule, people know that. That's a real solid
Yeah.
number. If you can say I can get you to 80%, they know that they're mostly there. And then anything above that's just, whipped cream and toppings. So
Yeah. Yeah, if it's not there already, then I'm gonna definitely have Chris do that for sure. So, all right. Well, that's it for this week, guys. Jim, you have another question?
Yeah. Um, and I sent you an email gratefully accepting your offer.
Okay.
And on the webinar script, I'm curious who it was modeled after, and then also can it come up with a PowerPoint version of the webinar?
Well, first off, the webinar script tool that I made in God mode, I really didn't give it anybody to model it after. Like I said, it was a preschool script. I was just playing with it. So it could probably be a tremendous amount better even than it is, but I was shocked at how good it came out just right out of the gate. So
if you want PowerPoints and that sort of stuff, Nano Banana or Gamma, you can say, here's my webinar, please create, 5, 10, 20, so how many slides you want, and it'll produce all the graphics and it'll be consistent. And here's my color palette, and it'll just spit it out in about 60 seconds. So John, write
yeah,
your webinar in Quantum and take it over to Nano Banana Gamma, and it'll create the slides for you.
yeah, I
Richard,
haven't.
is Gamma the first last time I tried it was probably over a half a year ago, and there were some bugs where I couldn't correct some of the text issues, like it was doubling words and that kind of thing. Is that improved?
As soon as Banana came out, the ground that Nano Banana broke was the consistency. It will correct spelling, it will create those kind of errors, and if you have multiple slides, it will create the exact same character on every slide. Whereas before, if you wanted to have a giraffe wearing a hat, it'd be a different kind of giraffe, maybe a different hat on different slides and this sort of thing. You say, no, this is the character I want to use. And it maintains character consistency. It maintains the spelling from what I understand. And it's it's actually getting to the point where people are not using it for as powerful as it is, which is for like, okay, I'm going into a meeting presentation. Here's the document of the Excel sheet I want to prepare. Would you please make it into a graphical interface or an infographic, and it'll do that, and it'll be completely high fidelity with the exact document you put in there. So
And
nano,
is that Gamma or Nana
that's
Banana?
that's Nano Banana,
How do you spell that?
NANO Banana.
Okay. Thank
That's
you.
why I say get
You
go
just
go get.
checking, a lot of people brand things and spell them weird.
Yeah, well, that's I think it's Google, but that's why I have Abacus because it has access to all of them. You don't have to know which one. If you go in there and say, "Here's my webinar presentation, please create the slides for it." If one of the other softwares has gotten better, it'll use the other software. And if you don't like that, then go back to you can select which one you want to use. So that's another one of the benefits that I get like out of Abacus. You get access to all of them, and it's up to date and it will do all that stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I haven't played with the Nano Banana thing, but I know on Gamma is not the easiest thing to do editing in. And it does require editing. So what I would always do with the Gamma is I would have Gamma basically design the PowerPoint presentation because it does a beautiful job. It does a really nice job developing the PowerPoint presentation. But then I would just output it to PowerPoint and I'd do all my editing in PowerPoint. Makes it super easy.
Just FYI, you can do that with Canva as well.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Yeah, whatever you're going to do your presentation in, it's much easier to do the editing in there.
I agree.
So, but yeah, Gamma, I got really frustrated using Gamma trying to do my edits inside Gamma. And once I realized, wow, I can just export this and the editing is super simple and, inside the PowerPoint. Got rid of my frustrations.
Supposedly, that's the stuff that Nano Banana has addressed and why it's been so revolutionary is that you can just tell it and you can omit most of that editing thing, but it does the same PowerPoint exports that you could then edit yourself if you wanted to in that. So
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I've heard a lot about it, so it's probably should look into that one. All right, guys. Well, I will go ahead and wrap her up for this week, and we'll see you next week, same time, and unless you hear differently. So, all right, guys, we will talk to you soon.
thank you, John.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.